Morning. This is the Legit Real Estate Podcast. I am TJ Ciolfi. I'm here this morning with Holly Rigoli. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Holly, lovely as always.
Thank
I
you.
think it's my duty to tell people that as well put together as you are, you're going to be sleeping outside this weekend.
I am in the pouring
Like
rain. It's gonna suck.
outside in the rain. I think we should do the podcast. Like we should record tomorrow at like 11 o'clock in the morning
Oh
and just
yeah.
see what that should look like.
Yeah. I'll send you a video. We'll see. Well, see, yeah, it's gonna suck. I don't like sleeping in a tent in the rain. I'm hoping we have enough tarps to cover it, but we're working at Special Olympics tomorrow, my troop. So we are camping there tonight and tomorrow night. They're not canceling Special Olympics, so we need to serve the food to the athletes. So that's our job. We can't not go.
That's a wicked cool thing that you're doing. And no, they're definitely not going to cancel it because there's so many people that are involved in it. It would just be a total disaster. My
Hmm.
question is, why do you have to camp there?
Well, we have to
Because
be in the dining hall by 6 in the morning.
oh, okay. And so you'd have to
So
leave your
my troop has 11 girls. So 11 girls, I think there's four adults or so. So if we could all get our butts there for like, 6 o'clock in the morning when we all live about an hour away, I don't think that's happening. That's okay. We'll make the best of it.
yeah, I guess. You know, I've never slept outside. I've never went camping.
Real, oh,
In my,
no, I was gonna say you're Italian, but no, that has nothing to do with it. My husband hates the camping part. When I get him to come to scout activities with us, like we're going whitewater rafting in August. The only way I can get him to go is if we stay in a hotel or a cabin.
mhm.
That's okay.
Yeah,
I get it. I'm not
yeah.
I'm not the big fan of sleeping on the ground, or I got a special mattress now and I do have a cot that I take with me camping as well. However, my cot is so big that it pushes against the edges of the tent. And
Mhm.
when it's raining, you don't want that. And it's also supposed to be lightning. So I don't really want to be sleeping on a metal frame cot.
No, for real. So what happened? Like, what happens? I can't go through the. I'm 46 years old, man. I can't make it through the night without going to the bathroom, right? So, like, what do you do?
No, it sucks because
Are you in the woods? Are you in a field? Like in this situation, you're not going to be in the woods.
we're in a field. So at the Ryan Center, as far as I understand, like where the Ryan Center is, like that field behind it, like I know
Mhm.
I haven't been there in a long time, but when I used to go to URI, it was just basically like fields that they would get for turf and stuff. So we're somewhere over there in the big open field. Um,
Are there other groups doing this, or is it just going to be you and your like 11 girls?
so my daughter did say that some of the kids that go to Gloucester, she's at the middle school over here, and she said some of the kids from another troop are going as well. And I don't know if they're camping though. So it should be interesting.
It very it very much should be interesting. I can't picture it. Anyway, what's going on in your world? I'll tell you what's going on in mine. I had a deal that was almost falling apart, and I'm going to tell you what saved it right now.
What's that?
Instead of asking, I had a client, right? So we go in the house. You ever go into one of these houses where everything in the effing house is at the end of its life?
Hmm.
Like the AC's at the end of its life, the roof's at the end of its life. You know, the dishwasher wouldn't turn on, it was at the end of its life. And the inspector was kind of, once he got into the mode of everything's at the end of its life, that's just what we're doing, right? Like that's what we're doing. So my client at first wanted like pretty much, extreme home makeover. And he's a first time buyer. Then he wanted a $20,000 credit. Now, first of all, his lender is not going to allow a $20,000 credit, but the seller wasn't going to do anything that amounted to $20,000, right? Because there were other offers. So instead of doing that, we asked the seller to buy my client a home warranty.
Hmm.
And that kind of made everybody happy because the home warranties are only about $1,200, right?
Which company did they get it from?
American Home Shield.
See, that's what Deb had recommended to me, and I actually have it on my list to call them because I'm in a situation where I'm so sick of my own appliances breaking and paying money to have people come fix them. Like I'm on my third washing machine and it's broken again. Like, so have you used that particular company before or seen how their warranties work?
I worked at a brokerage that required us to offer it to every transaction. So I used them, like made a claim? No. But when we flip houses at the brokerage I'm at now, we're required to buy that for the buyers.
I've had to do that like with my last couple flips. And I had one of my clients get a home warranty. I think I bought it for her as a gift, like for a closing gift. I bought her a home warranty for a year, but she went to go use it on her washing machine and she said it was like a pain in the butt or something. So like I'd love to know more about how the warranties work and what they cover and what they don't.
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't have been a pain in the butt unless it was something that wasn't covered.
Yeah, how
Like,
do you
oh,
know? That's why I need to have a conversation with that company because I want to know like what's covered in this and how, so the 1200 is for a year, right?
yes. And I don't know why it's not going to let me request a quote right now. It's asking me for all kinds of personal information. But the general idea is it's supposed to cover all the appliances and all the major components of the house. There's a deductible, and I've had to pay. It was like $50 deductible. I had to pay that before. I bought a house that was I flipped it, and like the first week the buyer was there, they tried to use the plug in the bathroom sink and it wouldn't work.
Hmm.
And I can't imagine that I would have had a reason to plug anything in the bathroom when I was working on the project. So I just took their word for it. But the American Home Shield covered it. I just paid the deductible for them because I didn't want to be a prick.
Yeah.
But it was like it was a $50 deductible, and they fixed the sink. The fixed the switch there. You know where my
Yeah.
wife would plug like
That's
straightener.
awesome.
Supposed to be really good with appliances, and I thought it's a good thing to mention because a lot of times in our negotiations we're like trying to get things fixed that aren't broke yet.
Hmm.
That's really like, yeah, so the AC is at the end of its life. It might go this summer, it might go in 3 summers, right? But at least now my buyer knows, well, if it happens in the first year, it's not on me.
Yeah, and at
Because
least that's a really good idea. And your buyer was comfortable with that?
yeah, he was happy about it. Yeah, he didn't know it was an option. Um, I don't know why it popped into my head because I'm not. It never pops into my head. But yeah, this one here that they bought the platinum plan. It covers the heating and the air condition, electrical, plumbing, kitchen appliances, and the laundry appliances. I mean, what else is there?
Yeah, and everything, those things, just to give a perspective on how expensive that stuff is. Oh, what did I just do? Um, the the washing machine that I have, I'm on my third washing machine, and I have a guy, and I had him come out and take a look at it because my husband we had one of those error codes come on saying, the filter's clogged, whatever. So my husband took it apart, took the filter out, cleaned it. When he put it back together, it was dripping. Like you could see a little leak underneath. So he's like, "Can you just get somebody out to fix it? I don't know if what I did put it back." He's like, "Forget it. It's too much work for me to try to do it, and it's not working right." So I get them to come out. They take it apart, they put it back together, they leave. Now it's leaking really bad. So I messaged the guy. I'm like, "Now it's leaking more than it was before you guys came." So they come back out. They replace the housing for the filter, and then they try doing a test run, and it's still leaking. And so they start looking at. They're like, "Listen, we can fix it, but it's just going to cost all this extra money for parts and stuff like that." And you start totaling up their parts and labor, and it's like it's not worth it. But
Yeah.
I'm like, I've already had three. I mean, we have hard water where I am, so I guess that contributes to it. But even my refrigerator for the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, the it doesn't, how do I say this? You know how this condensation,
Mhm.
like it creates condensation because it's cold. Well, the fan or something, like it doesn't dry the condensation, so it all ends up at the bottom of my freezer. So we keep a hammer by the side of my fridge, and every couple weeks I have to actually take a hammer to the bottom of the fridge and get this big sheet of ice out.
One inside your house or the one in the garage?
I don't have a garage. It's the main one that we use in the first floor. I do have a one in the basement too, but this is the one in the basement's older. This is my everyday refrigerator. So I'm like, well, maybe
Because
we'll
we
just get a new one.
we have forever problems with our garage fridge. Like right now, it's snow. We lost everything that was in it. We had ice cream and all kinds. We put junk in there.
Yeah.
Um, and it's all snow out of nowhere. Like we went to New York, we came back, and it was all snow. So every time we go to get that repaired, because I just keep buying cheap ones out there, like
Hmm.
like secondhand ones. Like I'm not buying anything nice. It's in the garage. Half the time, my wife probably drives into it for all I know. But Um, had I had a home warranty, they probably give me a new one.
Yeah.
Because they'll cover up to like $5,000 on appliances within that year, and that'll cover a new fridge easily, especially a garage fridge.
Yeah. So I try to weigh the options, right? I mean, does it cover your HVAC equipment too?
Hmm.
See, that's kind of big because you think of the repairs and stuff. So I ended up spending $300 to have them come out to fix my washing machine, 150 each time, and it's worse than it was when they came out the first time. So that sucks. They did take a quick look at my fridge and said, it's going to be about $400. No, the part itself, because the center part of my fridge also doesn't shut right. So I end up getting like mildewy stuff on the lip, the seal thing. So they're like, that's an expensive part. So I'm looking at like $600 to replace a fridge that's like 10 years old. So I'm like, I should just get a new fridge. But then I start going to look at new fridges. They're like $3,000.
It's crazy, right? Especially, I have to, you got to match it, right? So you can't, especially in the main kitchen, like you got to match it. So it's
Hmm.
got to be at the same quality as everything else. And yeah, the $3,000, $4,000 for the good ones. And if you want one of those like Sub-Zero fridges, forget about it. These people
Hmm.
out of their mind with their $25,000 refrigerators. When we had to replace it since we've been here, so probably 3 years ago, and that was my first thought. Like, let's get a Viking one. Like, let's do it. Until you see the prices, these people are insane. But
Yeah.
yeah,
But I guess
uh,
it would be so you figure $1,200 a year. It covers everything in your house. Or something breaks, you try to fix it. I did get a store warranty on my dishwasher from Lowe's. Um, and it was a 5-year warranty. I forget, I might have paid like $100 for it. I had them out to my house at least 5 times in the 5 years because
that's good.
yeah, so that helped. I got a stove last year, and a month after the warranty wore out, that was from Home Depot. It had a 1-year warranty, but that one's a good one. It's like either GE or Whirlpool. It's a good, I don't think Whirlpool makes stoves. It's a good one though. And I called the guy that came out and fixed it, said it was a manufacturer's problem because at the factory they screwed the back panel onto a wire. So when I went to run something, the fan in the stove didn't stop. It wouldn't shut off. So they came out and they fixed it. So they're like, yeah, everything should be covered. Then like 8 months later, the repair company reached out to me. They're like, yeah, you need to be paying for it because, it was outside of the warranty period. And like they told me it was a manufacturer's thing. They haven't called me since. I haven't had a chance to look into it or reach back out to them, but I was like, it's just so frustrating. Like nothing lasts how it's supposed to. If you have
No,
I learned this with hot water heaters, right? My very first house I bought, I had a hot water heater that was like from, I don't know, 1920s, 1930s. And then I had one that was 8 years old. You know which one went? The one that was 8 years
the,
old.
for sure.
Because they make
Yep.
things obsolescent so that they can keep making money.
Hmm. Hmm. And a lot of times you go into like an elderly person's house that's had the same fridge for 50 years, and that thing it's gonna run forever and ever. It's usually like, I don't know, olive green or like copper colored, like those old kind. And then I'm just recycling like white ones. The stainless steel ones are garbage. Like they dent, they scratch, they break, and then you got to buy a new one. And it's like made for you to keep going back to these damn stores, and that is what it is. But anyway, I thought I would mention it because um, I don't think feel like a lot of people take advantage of it in their negotiations, and I don't feel like a lot of like buyers or buyer representatives like even find a way to use that, because this deal would have definitely fell apart, without giving them that peace of mind.
I think
Now,
that's great. Like I said, I've used it on my own flips, and that's been because we are required to do it from the brokerage if you're flipping something, which is I think really good. But I think I found something I was paying like I don't know $600 at the time for the warranties. But I hear a lot more about this particular company that you mentioned, and I want to look into with them and see what really like is covered and stuff. I think that's a real good way though, because I have had clients go into places and they're like, "Well, what about this and what about that?" It does give them a peace of mind and it's costing the seller $1,200 versus, $20,000.
yeah, for sure.
And it
Well,
makes everyone happy.
it's frustrating when you own a house and something works. Like my AC works; it's past its useful life, but it works. If I had to replace it for someone else's benefit, that's kind of, it's like, well, it's not broken.
Hmm.
Like, I don't mind fixing something that's broken, but you're gonna ask me to fix something that's not broken because some guy says it's going to break in the future. Well, everything's gonna break in the future.
Yeah.
you just don't know when. So,
No.
um,
I think
I
that
think it's a
is
pretty
great
solid
for buying a
too.
home. I think that's great and a good peace of mind. I do have to do more research though to figure out if it is more worth it for me to do something like that for my house.
Mm.
Because I'm sure they probably take into account, like they'll ask you the life of all your current things and your value is probably, the cost is probably going to go up if things are older.
I don't know if they tell you. I don't know if they ask that. I
Really?
think you should buy it and it's out there, right? Yeah, I don't because when I bought it for people, they never asked me like a questionnaire of what's this and what's that.
Mm. Well,
Like,
that's good. So maybe I'll get it for a year and I'll replace my wash machine, I'll replace my fridge, I'll get all those things taken care of. I don't
I bet
know.
catch on to your scam. Maybe we can get someone that knows a lot more about it on here at one point.
I would love to. Like, I definitely need to learn more about that. But I like how you rescued your deal that way. And it's something I don't think of. I thought of it when I was flipping my houses. I was like, oh, we got to do a home warranty. Oh, we got to do that. But I don't think of that when I'm doing transactions and helping my buyers. And I love that idea.
I bet it could work on the other side too. If you have your seller offer it,
Hmm.
it can probably cut out some of the BS requests because, well, that's covered under the warranty.
Yeah.
Well, oh, well, the dishwasher, I don't know, this didn't work as the temperature wasn't as good as it's supposed to be. Whatever, it's covered under the warranty. Let it go.
Yeah. No, that's a good idea. I have two listings coming up and
Do you?
I
Like,
do. I do. One in Patuxent Village and one I think I've told you about in Cranston. So, but that's not a bad idea to offer something like that to to not have to deal with those things.
mm-hmm. So tell me
Very.
about hard money. You have a story about hard money, or you just want to talk about hard money?
I want to talk about hard money because I have a situation where I have a client that is in the need of using hard money to get out of a situation. And I find that her family members and friends are completely uneducated about hard money. So
Mm-hmm.
I have someone that right now they don't have a job. They haven't had a job in years due to a family matter and a couple family matters. So they haven't had a job. They've been on assistance and stuff, but they had bought their house with cash a few years ago because of the thing that happened with the family member. It was a very tragic thing. So they had the cash for that. But unfortunately, they had fallen behind in payments on taxes, on water bills, on electric bills, on everything.
That's
And
yeah.
I mean, it's a bad situation. They don't have a car, they don't have a means to get to work. Like they're trying to turn things around. The only thing they have is the equity in the house because they don't owe a mortgage on the house, but they need to get out. So we're going to be selling the house for them. But in the meantime, in order to get rid of like right now the house went to tax sale, so somebody bought the tax lien and all that stuff. So we need to get them out of that. So because they have no job, no credit, they don't qualify for a loan. They're not going to qualify for a loan for a very long period of time. So they can't even take a home equity line out. So we went through all these situations. Like, can we take a home equity line out? Nope, no credit. They can't do that. How long is it going to take to get there? Like, what if we were to do, I don't know, we just couldn't figure out any other way. So with hard money, we were able to figure out, okay, it's more expensive. We had two options. One was 12% interest only, a minimum of $100,000 loan, and 3 points. So to explain for people that don't understand what that means, 1 point is 1% of the loan. So for 3 points, you're doing 3% of the loan comes out of the amount. So if she has to take out a minimum of $100,000, you have to do $100,000 times 3% is coming off that goes to the lender. And then they're paying 12% per month. Most hard money loans go for about a year.
Mhm.
And then after that year, sometimes they'll let you extend it. You might have to pay more points and stuff like that. So, but the idea of this is to get them the money to pay off the bills that they need to pay and to do some stuff in the house that needs to get done so that we can sell the house and get them into something more affordable and get them a car, they're in such a bad situation right now that they do not have house insurance on their home that they live in. So we need to get them all straightened out with this. So they had friends that were concerned And the friend got on the phone with me and they're like, oh, so you just think that setting her up with a loan shark is the best option? I'm like, what? Like that's not how it works. So, I mean, you've used
No,
hard money before, I'm assuming, in your flips, right?
million times.
Yep.
Yes. I mean, some of there, if you get it from like a private person, you might be dealing with someone who's a little shady. But there are like companies, banks. There are banks that lend
Mhm.
hard money,
Yep.
and that's all they do. It's much more common. It's much more common than you think. They'll call them short-term loans
Hmm.
as opposed to calling them mortgages or whatever, you know. But it's not. It's not like you're getting the money off the street.
No.
Like they're not gonna foreclose on you. It's legit. It's not like you're borrowing $100,000 off some guy and he's gonna foreclose on you the second he walks out of the door. It's not like that. It's legit.
Right.
It's a legit.
And so there are some requirements to this. So this particular lender is an attorney and like it was really neat because now I have a new lender I'm going to be calling when I have a flip because I thought his terms were very reasonable. 12% and 3 points. I mean, the last couple loans I had, it was years ago. I had 10% and 2 points for one of them. I think they were around 10% and 2 points. But the very first loan I ever took out, it was terrible. It was through an actual big company. And I had to put a ridiculous amount of money down, which was stupid. But a lot of the times, like when you're on the flipping side, right, they're going to give you money for the house, they're going to give you money for the rehab amount. But what they wouldn't do is they wouldn't release that money. I had to do funding requisition. So I'd have to upfront a lot of the money for the work, do some of the work, then they'd come in and I'd have to pay them like $300 every time they come and do an inspection, and then they'd give me some of that money out of there. So that's how, like, if you're using a big hard money company, a lot of times that's how that'll work, and you're using it for flips. Now, on a personal end of things, like, I was so glad that we were able to do this for somebody that's just a regular person that needs help out of a hard situation. But one of the things that the lender required was that they take the house and they put it into an LLC name. Because when you're in your home, if you end up claiming bankruptcy, they don't want to take the risk of that going to bankruptcy. And most hard money lenders, when you're doing like the flip and stuff like that, you can't house hack because they're not going to let you live there when you're taking out that hard money loan. So they required this client to put the house into an LLC, which is happening, and then they're going to be able to get the money, and they're going to be able to use that money. Now, it is a lot more expensive. Our current rates right now, what, between 6 and 7 some and percent, and they're going to be paying 12% interest only. But the goal is even though the requirement is for a year, actually, is his requirement for a year? I can't even remember. His might not even be for a year. There was another lender. The requirement was a minimum of 6 months, but no points. But I think the reason why they pay the points up front is, um,
I said no. So if you get out of it quicker, they still get
yes,
something.
exactly. So
Yeah.
if we do what we need to do, get the house on the market, get it sold within the next 2 or 3 months, they pay that back, you're all set. The other lender was 17%, but no points and a minimum of 6 months. So we were looking at the options, and I was able to kind of show her this is what this looks like, this is what this looks
Mhm.
like, and she wanted to go with the lower
When her
interest.
friends get on the phone and tell you that it's a loan shark, what is her other option? There is no other option. The other option is you're homeless.
Yes, yep, you're homeless. and and I don't want to see that happen to them. Like they're in. Oh,
Excuse
and bless you. And this
me. Sorry.
particular person got sucked into a solar contract that is going to be a nightmare when it comes time to sell the house. And I think I talked about it at one of our meetings. This solar contract is 25 years of paying $326 a month to the solar company, but you never own the solar panels. It's always owned by the solar company. So even if we get in a situation where a buyer will not buy the house without them paying off the solar panels, they'll have to pay $76,000 to pay off the solar panels, to pay off the contract, but the contract terms are still in place and the solar company owns the solar panels. And I have no record of what her savings are on this house for the solar because she hasn't paid her electric bills or the solar bills, so they shut the solar off. So there's
Oh,
no record of what the electric savings are. So this is going to be a real hard sell to say, hey, you got this, you need to take over the solar contract for $326 a month.
I don't know if it works or not, but
Yeah, you don't know how much it saves on electricity. So So we got an attorney involved. So one, for the peace of mind of our friends and family, I said, listen, I said, I don't want you taking my word. I'm just trying to give you options. But I think you need to talk to an attorney that represents you in your best interests so that your family and your friends have a peace of mind that you are being represented in the best way possible. I don't, huh?
If that's smart by you too, because
Yeah.
if it doesn't work out for any reason, and this woman is not shown herself to be a savvy consumer, like if she gets that money and it's gone in 2 weeks, you don't want to be the one taking the heat for it. Like she has an attorney, let the attorney give her the best guidance.
Yeah.
Like
It's just
because something
she,
tells me that that money is going to come in and it's going to go right out the door.
well, like I said, I'm gonna try to help. Like we know we made a budget and we figured out where things go, but we want to make sure. So I got the attorney involved. They're like, listen, I represent you for the house and stuff like that, but I'm not a legal, I'm
Mm.
not an attorney. I can't guide you legally. But at least if you are hiring an attorney, you have somebody that you are paying to put your best interests, like they understand the legal stuff. And that's where we actually got the other lender from, was from the attorney. It was somebody he knew, and it was a better option than the other.
I'm surprised the attorney didn't tell her her best option is to just walk away from everything.
You know, if she did, then she'd have nothing, right? Like this house, there's like, because there's no mortgage on it, there's like $450,000 in equity in it. So if we
Mm.
sell it, she'll be able to at least buy something else, maybe something smaller, like a condo where the water, sewer, taxes are all included in the fees or something, and get them her in a better situation. But um I just wanted to make sure people understand that there are legitimate people out there that do this stuff. However, there are shady people too, and you need to be careful.
You know, if you're dealing with a professional, like whether it's a realtor or an attorney, they're going to know what's legit and what's not.
Hmm.
You know, like this isn't something where you go on Facebook and say, I'm looking for hard money. Like there are people in our world that everybody in our office, I guarantee you, there's 250 of us. Everybody knows somebody that'll lend, uh, uh, give a loan or know how to refer someone to give a loan. You just got to read the terms, and it's gonna look like a mortgage contract. It's not gonna be as long, but it's gonna sound and read like it. It's not gonna say Holly owes me 3 points and 100,000. I'll see you in a year. It doesn't look like that. It says it's legit, and they're going to want to
Hmm.
be in the first position, right? Because they're going to want to make sure that they get their money back in the event of an issue. But they're not. They're more expensive. They're not. I don't find them to be dangerous.
No,
I,
as long as people, and we had to emphasize and let them know, listen, this means that if you do not pay this back, if you go fall behind on your payments, and so what we did is when we were trying to figure out how much money my client needed to take out, I built in 6 months of her actual mortgage payments into that. But then we found out this guy required the minimum of 100, which was more than they needed anyway. But we wanted to make sure that all her living expenses were covered, including the amount she needed to pay, so she didn't have to worry about trying to get that somewhere. But I really want people to understand that, there's always an option out there. Like I don't, and you know what? I always go in and I'll tell people, like, if they're in a situation where they need to sell quick or fast or whatever, like I'm like, okay, I can offer you cash, but if we figure this out, right, there are other options out there, because when the house goes to tax sale, you're gonna be getting hit with people, hey, we'll buy your house for cash. That is a
absolutely.
legitimate thing. I've done that. You've done that, right? But it might not always be the best option for that person. So
How about getting your house, selling your house for pennies on the dollar? That's worse than paying a high interest rate.
exactly, exactly. So that's why,
And
like,
that's Any of yours do this, but when you flip a few houses, at least my guy, he doesn't even take payments from me every month. So I
that's
can have the note. I can have the note for Usually I'm out between 6 and 8 months,
mhm.
but I'm not even paying every month. It's just all we just accrue it all, and then at the closing, because the
Yeah.
spread's so big, he just gets paid back all at once. And the
Yeah.
way he's like, well, I'd rather you keep the money and get the job done instead of coming back to me and asking me for another 20 grand. Like, what's the point? So
Yeah.
I don't even make those monthly payments. I don't know if everybody will have that kind of relationship. Your person probably
Yeah.
wouldn't, but a lot of investors, like sometimes they don't even want those small checks. Just pay me all back in a lump sum
Yeah.
because they're getting their points on the perks on the buy side. So they're already getting their points. And then I just pay the note back with interest at the closing on the back end. And it works out good. It works out good for us because I got so much money flying out the door when I'm flipping a house that the last thing I'm thinking about is making a mortgage payment,
Yeah.
you know.
No,
I'm more
that works out good. But there's so
worried.
many people that don't understand this part that exists. And I hate to see when people are in tough spots because people get taken advantage of. My client got wicked taken advantage of, and they weren't really set up properly to understand all of the expenses and everything that was involved. And there was a lot of bad things that ended up happening that put them in this situation. And I just want people to understand that even if they end up in a hard and bad situation, there's always a way out. And I would definitely suggest people reach out to others that might understand it. Realtors, attorneys, like but there are also a lot of attorneys that don't understand it either, that are like, oh, no, no, no. So you need to talk to the right people and talk to multiple
Real estate,
people.
someone who's done these kind of deals before, you
Yes.
know. You don't want to
Yeah.
go to your attorney that you went to because you got rear-ended in 1997. Like that's not the guy. Although
No,
that guy might be the shark that wants to loan you some money, but
exactly. Exactly.
this and there are times where the best option is to just like walk away.
Yep.
You
There
know,
are, because if you
I
don't
feel like that's
have,
more likely with like a young single person that has enough time in life to like get back on their feet. I know a couple of people bought their first condo when they were in their 20s and just walked away from it, like screw it. And then by the time they're 35, like, their credit's back to normal, their income is up to par, then go buy again. But your people sound like they're a little bit more down the line in life, and to start over with no job, no house, and no money is going to be a wicked challenge.
especially when there's this much equity in the house. And like I said, could I come in and offer? I thought of you. I was like, oh, TJ will come in and offer cash, flip this, no problem. But you're going to offer way less than she's going to get if we put it on the market. So if we put a couple things into place, put it the right way, she's going to be able to pull enough money out to be able to get another property. And so I always I'll give people options. Sometimes people want that easy, let me not think about it option, but we want to give them the
Well,
best options.
these people who are calling you up talking about their loan sharks, like, what is their solution to her problem? Do they have one?
So that was the attorney's point. He's like, okay, so are they willing to give you money and help you with this situation? And she's like, no. And he's like, then they shouldn't have an opinion. And then then she was reaching out to me. She's like, yeah, so my brother, is saying I shouldn't take the loan and I shouldn't take the loan. She's like, I know I need to. And I was like, okay, so is your brother offering you a solution? She's like, yeah, he said he'll come live with me and pay me $600 a month. Oh, okay, so how is that going to
Okay.
get you out of I think we were up to her needing $80,000, 60 or 80,000 to get her what she needed. There was a minimum of 40 to pay off all the stuff she has and get her a car so she can get on her feet. So it was like, so $600 a month is not going to get you what you need for that. Plus actually, I think we're up to, like, with the taxes and the fees and stuff, when somebody buys a tax lien to get rid of all that, I think we're up to $12,000 right there.
And they have a certain amount of time on that. Like that's a deadline. There's a drop
Yep.
dead date on tax sale, right? It's like 1 year from the auction,
Yep.
and then those people can take your house for whatever the tax lien was.
Yep. Yeah.
It's funny, the people that will shoot down your solution. This happens all the time to us. It's the nature of people don't trust us by our nature, I guess. But
Hmm.
you offer your solution, you say, okay, here's the three best options, and every other person they know has a better option, but they don't have a better option. They just don't like your options.
Yep. I think that's the thing, is they're not educated, they don't understand, they've never heard of it. That's why I was like, I really thought it was important to mention it, because people that are not in our world, or that don't, and I didn't even at first think of the hard money part of it. I actually went to one of my regular lenders and, like, what can we do to get her some equity or get her financing on this house? And she's like, sorry, we can't do anything because she has no credit. She's all behind on all this. As an actual lender, like through the banks and stuff, we cannot do anything. She's like, but why don't you go to this person that's a private money lender? And I was like, I didn't even think of that. So,
Because they
you
care
know,
about your equity. That's all they care about. They just want to make sure there's enough meat on the bone if you screw it up.
yep, because unfortunately they're not in the business of repossessing homes, but that is their thing, is if they need to take the house back, they're going to take the house back and then make the money for it. So, but we at least this is going to buy us time to get her what she needs to get the house on the market, get the cash out, and allow her to,
Yeah.
yeah.
Where's this house?
And I don't know yeah, I don't want to mention it on here just because I don't want to give too much information on it. I'll tell you after.
Yeah. All right. No, that's fair enough. But I,
Yeah.
I I feel bad for anybody that's in that situation. Even if it's self-inflicted, it still sucks.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's and a lot of it is just people get stuck in shit storms, right? shit draws flies. I don't know what the sayings are, but somebody gets taken advantage of, especially with the solar company and all this other stuff. It's just,
Some people are just susceptible to like the next shiny object, and they'll just find it. Like they'll just find it, whether it's a solar panel or a freaking, I don't know, a new credit card. Like some people just bounce around and just make bad financial decisions all the time, and
yeah.
they end up being tenants of mine. Like that's just how it ends up. Because I used to own a house, so the guy will move in, I'll have all his tools, and say, I used to own a house, but I get screwed by this guy. No, you didn't. Um, Holly, we are out of time. Can you tell the people where to find us?
Yeah, we're the Legit Real Estate Podcast. You can find us at the Legit Real Estate Podcast at gmail.com if you want to come on our show or have any interest in that. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, everywhere that there's a podcast. So hopefully like, subscribe, follow, give us good ratings, please. Please.
Go have a good time sleeping outside.
I'm gonna try. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.